Welcome to Good Morning Uganda Agenda. And today we are going to be talking science. We are going to be looking at the role of technology in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, that is the SDGs. How can we use technology to achieve this? And with me in studios, I'm very excited because I'm having a scientist, and this is Dr. Joyce Nabende, who is a lecturer, Department of Computer Science, Makerere University, but also the head of the Makerere University Artificial Intelligence Laboratory. Now, good morning, Doctor.
Good morning.
How have you been?
Fine, thank you.
Since the lockdown, now for you, you're back, you've been teaching all through, researching.
Researching mainly, yes. But we are also back to teaching now.
Also back to teaching.
Yes, we are.
There's a word I love here. Yes, we have so many scientists, kind of, but head of the Artificial Intelligence Laboratory. That sounds so big. Just throw more light. Artificial intelligence.
Thank you very much for the question. So the word is not so complicated, and I believe many of us have encountered artificial intelligence or machine learning as we go along with our day-to-day life. So what we are trying to do with artificial intelligence is to try and use the intelligence we have in our brains, but give that to the computers to help us function and solve day-to-day tasks as we go along. Yes.
Well, let's go straight to our topic, which is the role of technology in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. We are going to look at more of the areas of health and agriculture. You, the scientist, always the president refers to you as finding solutions to the problems. Yes. How does technology come in here?
Thank you for the question. So when I think about technology, I always try to think about it in terms of ICTs, and particularly we also think about what can we do with that kind of technology that we have that is around us. So if I ask anyone what is around you, the first piece of technology that you think is around you will be your mobile phone. So if we have that mobile phone, then I will think of what can I do with the mobile phone, what can I do with the access to internet that I have in order to help me to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, and particularly for health and agriculture that you have actually been able to mention. So that is the area that we try to focus on, yes.
And how do we apply technology here in these areas? For example, basically looking at what we have at our ivory tower.
Yes, thank you very much. So I will try and speak based on the work that we try to do at the Makerere Artificial Intelligence Lab. So we are driven by the passion and the fact that we have these very many issues around us, so problems that we have around us, but which we think that technology can be able to solve when applied appropriately. So for example, if I think about a farmer who's down there in Masindi, and I'm thinking, oh, what do they have? They have a mobile phone. What problem do they have? They probably have a problem in diagnosing the diseases that they have in their garden. So then what comes to my head is, how can I be able to help this farmer? So what we have done and developed in the Makerere AI Lab is to think about developing machine learning and artificial intelligence technologies that can be installed on the farmer's mobile phone. So what the farmer does is that they go to their field, they take an image of their cassava plant, and automatically they are able to get a diagnosis on their phone saying, oh, you have this particular disease. And
that fast?
Yes, that fast.
Wow, technology, yes, now.
That fast. And you know, with disease spread, early detection is very important. So if they're able to detect the diseases very early, then they're able to take measures quite quickly before the disease can spread in the garden. So that's one example in agriculture that we do.
And then we move to the field of health.
So if we are moving to the field of health, I'll talk about one of the projects that we are pioneering, which is around disease diagnosis, but looking at it from malaria. So I know many of us have been to the hospital, and when you go and you're not feeling well, what they'll tell you is that they'll send you to the lab to take blood out of you, so that we can be able to look under the microscope and see what kind of parasites, or what's the amount of parasites that the person has with their blood. So what we have done with the work with machine learning, again, with what we are doing in the lab, is we've been able to develop, again, machine learning models powered on the mobile phone. Instead of having the radiologist go and look under the microscope, we go and have an adapter attached to a mobile phone, and someone is able to take a picture of that slide. And based on that picture, we have a model on the on our mobile phone that's able to do the count of the plasmodia in the blood smear that has been taken from the blood of the patient. And I hope I got all those science, the medical terms very correctly, but well, that I'm looking at it from the machine learning perspective. And within an instant, you're able to have the count of plasmodia based on the machine learning algorithms that we have developed.
Of course, it's creating unemployment to one level, but of course the world rotates on technology. Doctor, how have Ugandans perceived these technologies that you're coming up with?
So I think Ugandans are very excited about this. They're receptive. They see the potential of what technology can be able to do for them. So if I can give you an example, and I know many of our users in Uganda, especially the youth, are very tech savvy. So they will pull out their iPhones and they will speak to their iPhones and say, oh, hello, Siri. And then Siri will wake up and say, hello, Joyce. What can I do? How is the weather? And I know Siri would respond to us right now and say, oh, it's very cold or it's raining. So what we want to do is we want to also be able to build up these technologies, not in English, but we want to build them up in our local languages, and that is in Luganda. So part of the work that we are doing is also trying to build up the language resources for our language, which is Luganda, and we've been able to push for that by launching Luganda as one of the second African languages on a platform called the Common Voice platform. That is a great achievement because besides Kinyarwanda, this is the only second African language there. So people can go there, they can donate their voices, and by donating their voices, I mean they can go and read the sentences that are there in Luganda. And in the end, we are going to have a very good data set of speech and text that we can be able to use to train our machine learning models and speech recognition models, such that eventually when I have my grandmother in the village, she can get to her mobile phone and say, hello Siri, but saying that in Luganda because we have the technologies that we've all built together.
Olyocha Naroga.
Yes, Olyocha Naroga, and then the phone is able to respond to her in Luganda.
Very interesting technologies that we are seeing being done at Makerere University. Now we are looking at the role of technology in achieving, that is, the sustainable development goals, and Makerere University is leading in this to ensure that they drive Uganda to that. They drive the people they are teaching. They drive Uganda where we can achieve these goals faster, quicker, using technologies. And we have the head of the Artificial Intelligence Lab that is at Makerere University. Dr. Joyce, as we still understand these technologies more, please help us understand how best an ordinary person can benefit from these technologies. Because most of the times they're seen for the elites.
Yes. Yeah, so if we are talking about SDGs, and maybe one particular one is looking at e-government. So now we all know that if I wanted to apply for a passport, that I don't have to go to the passport office. I can go online and apply for whatever I need to do online. And the systems have all been interconnected from the passport system. You're connected to the bank system where you're able to pay. Or if I am applying for a trading license right now, all those technologies can be, all those services can, and are now brought closer to the person down there through just the click of one button on the internet, through a web browser. So these technologies are not up there. We are actually already interfacing with them with our day-to-day work, because the government has also made an effort through this e-government interoperability between the different services, such that we can be able to have access to them easily.
Let's also look at something that we want to understand better, which is Earth observation. This is one of the things I came across when I was trying to read more regarding how best technologies that you're working upon can benefit the ordinary person. And this is Earth observation, how technology through Earth observation can benefit the ordinary person. First, give us a clear definition when we refer to Earth observation in line with technology.
Thank you very much. So when we are looking at technologies, as I already said, one of the examples of the technologies that we can use is machine learning. However, if we look at machine learning, what is important to build a machine learning model is this aspect of data. And so the example I gave in agriculture, the data is image data, the image data that is coming from the garden. If it's health, it's the image data that's under the microscope. That is very important to build and use a machine learning model. So if I look at another aspect of data. Earth observation is one kind of data. So if we look at Earth observation, the quickest thing that someone should think about is this satellite imagery data. I know that we've probably all heard about that. So we have open space agencies that are providing us with this satellite observation data that someone can be able to pick out and use for building the machine learning model. So the model is the technology, but we need the data to build this technology, and this Earth observation or satellite imagery data that's up there that you're able to see, oh, what's happening down here? Oh, I can easily be able to look at that data and map out the roads. These are roads, maybe this is houses, this is how the top of the houses look like. Oh, I think this is forest cover, because when you look at that satellite imagery, that satellite image, you can be able to differentiate, even from our lay eyes, we are able to differentiate and say this is a road,
for
this
example,
is a forest.
if you go to Google,
yes,
please try to soften it to the ordinary person. If you have a Google map,
yes,
that is a satellite image.
Yes, so if you have a Google map,
you just interpret it and then.
Yeah, so when you go to Google Maps, you can have one where we are only seeing the roads, but you can also have one which gives you a bigger dimension, more like a 3D dimension. So then it's able to show you that this is how it looks like in 3D. And then from that kind, you're able to understand at that view that Google is seeing, or the satellites of Google are seeing over Uganda, that this is how it actually looks like, and this is how it's mapped out, or this is how Uganda is mapped out.
So how are you venturing into this, and how do we stand to benefit?
Yeah, so this is important. So for us, from machine learning as a research lab, but also from Makerere University training, especially because that's what we do. These are very important technologies that we can equip people, and these will apply ordinarily to very many organizations that we have here in Uganda. So I will just pick out one. So if I look at the National Forestry Authority, so they are, one of their mandates is to make sure that they ensure that we have trees growing. So they want to be able to track afforestation and deforestation in Uganda over time. But you know how forests are very thick. If I'm a human being and I went into the forest, I would probably get lost. But if you look at it from above, from on top, and that's what the satellite data would look like, we're able to look at it from that view from up there. So we are able to, for example, I can come and take a view today in 2020, and I can compare with the view that was taken in 1990, and I'm able to tell, oh, over these two views, what happened in this particular area for the forest. Was there more afforestation? Was there more deforestation? And from that angle, you're able to tell over a wide area what has happened, what change has happened, for example. Yeah, that would be a simple one.
Thank you for simplifying it. But Doctor, many a times we've seen Makerere University come up with very good innovations in the area of agriculture, in the area of health, but they have not been able to be accessed by the ordinary person. So it remains on your CVs as doctors, researchers. It remains in seminars you hold at different platforms. One time I was in Zambia, and there was this very good scientist in Uganda. Coming up in food sciences, I think it's Dr. Ivan Mukisa.
Yes,
the man had developed some preservative that can keep Bushella, all this. And what was amazing, that in Uganda it wasn't known. But Makerere University had this research. This man was selling it was giving information to the rest of the world. I had to approach him and ask, but gentlemen, back home, farmers are failing even to preserve this for the next day. But at these international platforms, we are shining bright, right from introduction. So what has been the challenge for these good discoveries, breakthroughs in science, to trickle down to the ordinary Ugandan and benefit from them?
Thank you very much. That's a very important question, and we always grapple with that question of how I'm doing research, how can it be able to benefit the person out there, or even how can they get to know about it? And I believe that there are several steps that can be taken. Of course, one of them is this. You've hosted me on this show. Thank you very much, and I believe this provides one of the coverage areas that we require for people to get to know what we are working on. But most importantly, I think for us in the lab, we have been very deliberate. If we are coming up with a solution, we collaborate very closely with the eventual beneficiaries of this technology. So much of the work we are doing, we're working closely with NACRI, which is a body, a constituent body of NARO in Namlonge. We work very closely with their team, particularly Dr. Chris in Namlonge, because then they're able to be the adapters of this technology that we are using, early adapters, but also that they're able to connect us with the smallholder farmers that are important and will adapt the technology. Because as we are in the lab, we might not have access to all the farmers who might take up the technology, but if we work very closely with these experts in all the different fields, you're working very closely with an expert in Mulago or in Mengo, for example, in health, this can be able to help and put out or push out the technology that you're using. But also looking at it from a policy perspective, I think also from our side, that might be something that we have to work deliberately on to ensure that much of this work that we are doing comes out, through knowledge transfer workshops, but also policy briefs that the government can be able to adopt, as well.
Very interesting. And we hope, well, it will come down to each one of us to better benefit from this than just remaining at the ivory tower. Let's now look at these trainings. Recently, I'm aware that you're going to have a boot camp, and this is going to basically focus at ensuring that you come out with the best ways to push forward these technologies.
Yes, thank you. Yes, so Makerere Artificial Intelligence Lab, together with an organization called Radiant Earth Foundation in the USA, and also sponsored by GIZ, we are going to run a boot camp, which is a training of trainees, where we're going to equip people with skills around machine learning for Earth observation. So we are skilling them how to manage and how to handle this Earth observation data through machine learning technologies. Yes.
Talking about Earth observation data, let's look at the various forms, because we know in every sector, Earth observation data, this is science. Earth observation data is very critical. Yes. But actually, it requires experts to analyze it. If you are to look at weather forecast, I'm trying to find a way. Please let's try to break these things more easily for our viewer to understand. You need an expert who is going to interpret that information. Exactly. You need an expert who will at least take people through the weather forecast, the clouds, the winds, and all this. Yes. So, do we have enough people when we talk about this? Because I believe there's so much information there that is not even getting out because people cannot interpret this data. Thank you.
Yes, that's a very important question. I think that's the gap that we are trying to meet with this boot camp. I think we've realized that there's the lack of expertise, particularly for interpreting and understanding this Earth observation data and using it in several sectors. For example, for planning purposes, in agriculture, like if I wanted to use it to predict crops, crop yield. There are also so many areas, as you've mentioned, where this data is there, but interpretation and understanding how to develop the models for it, that expertise is not there. And so that's why this bootcamp is important, because we've identified that there's that gap, there's that need, and so it's very critical that we can be able to fill it through this training that we have, or that we've organized.
Okay. Who are the people that are going to be in this training? Am I welcome? Is it, or are you looking at scientists? Because what we want is to understand this information is so out there, but people, I believe, they're eager to get to understand science more and make science part of their lives to be a life changer.
Yes, so for everyone out there, if you have entry-level data science techniques, or if you're very interested in remote sensing, I believe there are people who...
Doctor, we agreed before this that you soften some of these terms.
Yes.
Because not everybody out there is a scientist.
Is a scientist. Okay, so if you're interested and you want to understand how the satellite works, for example, how I can interpret and use this data, even just that spark of interest, I think you're welcome for that training. I know that there are people who are, for example, out there maybe in this long vacation that we have had, have been looking into programming languages. I hope that's simple enough. And maybe one of the programming languages that people have looked at is Python, one of the languages. And by programming languages, I mean building up how to build the technology. We build the technology based on a particular language. For example, if I wanted to build the technology on your mobile phone, there is a language in which I have to build that particular technology. So one of the languages out there is called Python. And so this is very important. And that field, we refer to that field as data science, where people have that particular skill to be able to do the things that we are talking about. So if there's anyone who even has that interest of, I have read about data science somewhere, I have interest in Python somewhere, they are also welcome for the course. Yes.
Very interesting. Technically kicked out regarding Python. Now when you mention Python, I was saying, okay, hope that, but well explained. Very interesting. Today we are looking at the role of technology in achieving the sustainable development goals. And with us is Dr. Joyce Nabende, who is a lecturer, Department of Computer Science, Makerere University, but also the head of Makerere University Artificial Intelligence Laboratory. It's all about science, but the world rotates on science. You and me need science, and it's science actually that we are what we are today, because that's how we've been able to fight diseases, that's how we've been able to detect natural calamities and where we prepare ahead. Doctor, let's also look at this. Information is very useful. Science is very useful, but only if it's respected and listened to. How, for Makerere University, you've carried out a lot of programs. You've made various discoveries, solutions to problems, various predictions. How is government responding towards this in ensuring smooth operations?
Thank you for that question. I think the government has really been our #1 enabler for the kind of research that we are trying to do at Makerere University and in all fields. One is, first of all, they've been able to aid us with funding to even do this research.
Most of the times from the reports are funded by, research by...
Yes, so now we have funded by the government of Uganda. So that's one thing we are very grateful for as Makerere University, that we have now received funding to be able to carry out our research here in Uganda. And so I find that as a very good environment and enabler, and to show that, to know that the government is actually behind us as we try and go ahead and push out these technologies that we are developing at the university.
Okay, you've gotten the technology. I'll take an example, weather forecast. There's so much that you've done at Makerere there. These help us predict some of the natural calamities. Have we seen action regarding the discoveries and reports being made?
Yes, I think so that we have to get it back now to the bodies that are in charge of this. So I think, for example, the weather forecast that you're talking about, I know that there's been a project in Makerere that has worked very closely with NEMA and with UNMA, which is the Uganda National Meteorological Organization, where they've been able to work very closely to even have one of the applications, as you mentioned, is one of the weather forecast. And that's one of the applications that are out there that are being provided on the mobile phone. Either you have your smartphone, but even if it's just a small feature phone, you're able to use a USSD code and send it to the particular number that they have provided us with, and it's able to give us or give prediction about the weather. So as I mentioned earlier, working very closely with these government institutions has really enabled the uptake and the scaling out of the kind of technology that we're building.
Going back to the bootcamp that is going to be having people with specific ideas or specific information regarding Earth observation, how is this going to be conducted? Do you have facilitators that are coming in?
Thank you for the question. So for this particular bootcamp, yes, we have facilitators. We have people who have been working in the field of machine learning, and also who have been working in the field of Earth observation and remote sensing, and who have applied these two together, because one is a methodology while the other is the data aspect. So we have people who are very skilled and knowledgeable and who are going to be able to train us in this bootcamp. So because of the fact that we are running this across 4 different countries, this bootcamp is going to be held online. Yeah, so it will be held online, and we'll have people who will be available to take us through the sessions online. Yes.
So I think we have a clip of one of the people that are going to be facilitators. Yes. I hope my producer has that.
Hello everyone, my name is Hamid Al Muhammad. I'm the Chief Data Scientist and Executive Director at Radiant Earth Foundation, a nonprofit organization based in the United States. Radiant Earth's vision is a strengthened global development community that benefits from high quality and trusted machine learning and Earth observation resources for a positive global impact. We came into being when we noticed one of the major global problems that was affecting usefulness of geospatial and machine learning technologies, especially as it relates to tackling global problems like food security. That was reference data, also known as training data, which is the building block for machine learning applications, and it lacked geospatial representation. There simply wasn't enough high-quality training data in the global south that data scientists could use and build applications that can offer solutions to the problems we face. For instance, identifying types of crops grown in a region using satellite imagery. We decided to address this need for a more diverse training data sets head-on and launched Radiant ML Hub, the world's first cloud-based and open-access repository for geospatial training data. Radiant ML Hub is an open library as well as a community that enables anyone to search and access training data based on the geographical region, labels, type of imagery, as well as a variety of other properties in a standard format. That means a data scientist in Uganda or Kenya can have the same access to high-quality training data like a data scientist in the US. It equals the playing field, or, if you will, democratizes access to machine learning data sets. We also encourage organizations and individuals to host their data on Radiant ML Hub, provided that they allow free and open access to those data sets. Another service we offer is training and capacity development, which is why we have partnered with My Career University and the German Cooperation for International Cooperation, or GIZ, to host this Machine Learning for Earth Observation Bootcamp in March 2021. Radiant Earth is uniquely positioned at the center of the global Earth observation and machine learning domains to build a collaborative community of practice and advanced geospatial machine learning applications. And now that we are training more people in Africa to use these technologies, we are adding to the growing community of practice across the continent who are working to build local solutions to the local problems people face. If you're a data scientist, explore the bootcamp and apply to the training. You can visit our website, radiant.earth, and see the application process and apply. It's free and open to anyone from Uganda, Rwanda, Ghana, and South Africa. If you're interested to access the data from Radiant ML Hub, please visit mlhub.earth and explore the data catalog. Thank you.
The training is free and completely free, so you'll access the website, be able to understand more. I love the fact that this is going to bring together a basket of experts, and they're going to be trained and also sharing more of knowledge. And here, but maybe because it's scientific, this time around you're talking about it's kind of virtual. It's not, people are not going to be physically in one place.
Yes.
Why did you prefer this?
So it's because we have people from 4 different African countries, and of course, because of COVID, we would have loved to have all of us together in one room.
Usually it has been coming together in one particular country.
Yes. Yeah, but unfortunately that cannot happen this year, but we still want to train people, and so that's why we decided to take it and make it virtual. But the whole instance here is that it's a training of trainees. So after you get trained, you have to train someone else such that you can pass on the skills that you have learned. That's very important for us.
Okay, then do you monitor people that have attended these trainings? Because there are so many trainings that you've done at My Career University. Yes, and at the end of the day, the trainers of trainees, people just come, get the knowledge and keep it out there. Yes. And this does not help us in any way extend more of this information.
Yes, so what we want to do is that before we even give you your certificate, or before we say, yes, you have learned the skills, that you have shown us the capacity to train another person. So we'll be expecting that first. Before we can award you the certificate out of this training, because we want to build this whole cohort of people. But also, very importantly, this is going to be a very hands-on training, so we'll not just come and pump things. You know, we are going to be hands-on and have build solutions together, because as I said, with this kind of data, it has several applications. So we are going to build the solutions together, have them understood, and then pass on that same knowledge to other people in the same format. Yeah, and finally, we'll also have the resources available online for anyone who's not able to attend the bootcamp. Don't worry, we'll have and other trainings coming up, and we'll have the information available.
So this is on which dates and when is the deadline for people to send in application? Already I've seen one of our colleagues very eager and interested to be part of this training.
Yes, thank you. So the dates are from 22nd March to April 2nd, 2021, and we've extended the deadline up to this weekend on Saturday. That's the deadline for application, but it's just a very easy Google form that people have to fill out. Yeah.
Well, information is out there waiting for you to tap in by also being part of this training. Of course, that is if you have knowledge in these fields. It's all about science and how best we can ensure that we use science to better livelihood and achieve the sustainable development goals. Doctor, time is not our best ally, and we finally come to the end. But before I let you go, can I have your final remarks?
Yeah, thank you so much. I want to say thank you so much for hosting me, and to also thank Radiant Earth for partnering with Makerere University to carry out this training, and for GIZ who's funding this training together with us. And to everyone out there, this is one of the so many trainings that we have. Please don't forget to come to the Makerere AI Lab. It's open, or just go to our website, www.air.ug, where you'll find more information about the work that we do.
Thank you so much. That is Dr. Joyce Nabende, who is a lecturer, Makerere University, Department of Computer Science, but also the head of Makerere University Artificial Intelligence Lab. Science is the way to go. Please, whenever there's an opportunity to learn, to know more, take use of it, and ensure that we better the lives of our very own lives and the lives of the entire world, because now the world is a globe and it's science that moves the earth. Have a lovely day. God bless you. Remember, COVID is still around, and perfect those drills. Good morning, Uganda.